Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram in the Bhakti Rasamrita Swami says that then the Bhakti is a continuation of Krishna, and that already some connection was there. It's like yesterday about the answer, different people made a connection. Met one man who spoke for a long time, etc. He had lost faith in the God of the Bible. Could not be God. But he had not yet really found his worship. Buy a book on the spot, so I steered him to a website. But one could see this man is searching. And he is, of course, so in the same way, we also. But in this life, consciousness has become a conscious entity. Yeah, I can show you this. So for a long time, there is Adhyanta Sukriti. So Adhyanta Sukriti is the unknown spiritual benefit that we have. Unknown revealing themselves. This Adhyanta Sukriti gradually builds up until we have a certain credit. Sukriti means credit. So Adhyanta Sukriti, unknown spiritual benefit. So at one point, it becomes Jnata Sukriti, it becomes known. At one point, we are consciously developing faith in devotions, taking our devotions, Shabbat, first, make sure faith, yes, this is the truth. And then, in the association of the devotees, we take out bhajan, we take out devotions. Rupa Goswami has given us that process. We are known as Rupa Nugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. So, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in particular, Rupa Goswami has outlined the process of that process of bhakti. It is said there is sadhana and sadhana. Sadhana means the practice of devotion, so the cultivation, where we're trying to cultivate pure bhakti. And sadhana is the goal. So bhakti can both be practiced in the stage of cultivation and in the stage of pure love for Krishna. Obviously, the idea is that we go there to that stage of pure love. But for now, we are engaging in as sadhakas in sadhana bhakti. to try and cultivate our love for Krishna. So first of all, we try to eventually become free from all other desires, from any desire for liberation, or to become free from the suffering of this material world. Or any desire to be relieved from all responsibility and simply merge in divinity. Here in this world, we live always under pressure, always being pushed along. They speak about the Sat Urmi, the 6 whips of material existence: hunger, thirst, lamentation, disease, old age, death. I missed one. And sometimes they call them whips, the 6 whips in material. So we're being whipped, walking along the path of life. So this desire for liberation, simply wanting relief, wanting out of all of that. You know, many of us, before coming to Krishna consciousness, were associating with some sort of spirituality, one or another. And I myself, I was reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and getting quite familiar with it. So one day I was with the Tibetans, and the next day I was with the Sufis, and I thought that was fine, because in those days it was all spiritual. Where I would read something about mystic Christians on Mount Carmel. I was looking for spirituality, and wherever it was found, I thought that spirituality was not meant to be harnessed in some sort of fixed process. But then when I came across Prabhupada's books and started reading them, then I could see that there are degrees of spirituality. Before that, we just thought, well, spirituality manifests in different places, and you just connect with it. Therefore, it was no problem to connect with the Tibetan Book of the Dead, or with the Sufi, or with some mystic Christians, or whatever. But then, after reading Prabhupada's books and becoming more familiar with the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, I became aware that, yes, there is different levels of spiritual realization. And that is the essence of this movement of Lord Chaitanya. It gives us the completely selfless, pure dedication to the pleasure of Krishna. And of course, that's not realized just overnight. But it is available. The knowledge is available. So in the beginning, we're getting a vision. The acharyas give us a vision, and they give us a vision where we are going in spiritual life. We're reading about all these lofty things, And at the same time, we are not there. We are somewhere else. And so we're dealing with both. We're dealing with an ideal, and we're dealing with a reality of who we are. And over time, in the beginning, we're very enthusiastic. But sometimes, as time passes, some become a little discouraged because they feel I'm not really advancing enough. Like I've been around now, but if I keep on going at this page, I'll never get there. I've hardly made a few centimeters towards the finish line. It's still a long marathon. So, sadhana, devotional practice, devotional cultivation, is our daily activity. Everything we do is connected to that sadhana. The way we rise in the morning, and the practice, whatever we do in the day, the way we go to sleep at night, all throughout, there is prescribed a certain way we do things based on scripture. So that is. But sadhana siddha, attaining perfection through sadhana, is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through Rupa Goswami, gives us the most intricate ways of cultivating our pure love for Krishna. But then the other element is also listed, and that is the mercy element. There's sadhana siddha, kripa siddha, and nitya siddha. Or nitya siddha means eternally perfect. Siddha means perfect. Sadhana siddha, becoming perfect by practice. Kripa siddha, becoming perfect by mercy. So the kripa siddha element in the movement of Lord Chaitanya is very big, right? And it is very much required. After all, he is the Yuga avatar, and in this age, without that kripa siddha, we will never make it. Right? That's for sure. So kripa, or mercy, is very much part of this ceremony of us taking vows. Here are Jayadev and Lisa, husband and wife, and he will be taking his second initiation, and she's taking first. And it's very nice that you're doing it together. It is also like that. Your spiritual life is very much together. By doing it together, it becomes possible. There, a lot of mercy manifests, actually. It's interesting that mercy is there not only from superiors, right? But not only from great gurus, but mercy also comes in the association of peers, or sometimes juniors, whatever it may be. All these things will are needed. So I see that you are nourishing each other in spiritual life, and that connection. Your marriage is a spiritual marriage, which is supporting that sadhana bhakti. Whenever I'm in the house, of course, I'm watching everything. Not that it's just a second habit, but I'm seeing everything that you're doing. I guess you're also seeing what I'm doing. Because this is the nature of people. We're all watching each other and registering what others are doing. So at the moment, they have this japa thing online, right, which is like serious. There's serious chanting there online. It's like, concentrated, high energy japa, all being streamed through the group. So that's something. So Jayadev is experienced in working with groups, and he is doing it very nicely online. It's really like something he's good at, motivating people online. That is very, very good, because the mercy, the Kripa Siddha, well, mercy is described as causeless. So mercy may come our way not by our endeavors, but simply by a superior personality, by its compassion and kindness. However, still, although mercy is causeless, still we can attract it, because we're dealing with personalities, and personalities have a heart. The personalities are the carriers of the mercy, and because they have a heart, and even the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a personality with a heart. Therefore, we can melt hearts. This is an important element in spiritual life, is to attract mercy. Naturally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the Yuga Avatar, performing the Yuga Dharma, is interested, particularly interesting in Namoma Haniyaya Krishna Premikadaya Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namaha, to give the topmost knowledge to the most full. So if somehow or other we become instrumental in that, and instrumental means we are passing on transcendental knowledge that comes down in the line of disciplic succession. This transcendental knowledge is not only book knowledge, right? This transcendental knowledge is also realized. Yesterday, I was talking a little bit about Swami, and he was quite impressed by the dance, of the Samadhi dance company, because they're professionals, right? And he could see it was something extraordinary. Then I mentioned that Rajasundari is the daughter of Hare Krishna Das. Well, Hare Krishna Das is quite a famous Dutch devotee from the early days, so Parnavati knows him well. Hare Krishna Das, really, his daughter. Wow. Then he wanted to talk to her. So then she was a little chatting, and then she was explaining what she wants to do. And she says, she wants to do in this current situation, wants to focus on smaller experiences, work with smaller groups and give people an experience. And the idea is that this experience, that first she wants to give people an emotional experience. And once they have had the emotional experience, then follow up with, some culture and some teachings and so on. And it's interesting because it is truly how this movement works. Some begin with philosophy. They're the Gyanis usually. They straight with philosophy. But for many of us, it's first some sort of emotional experience, something that attracts us, something that's really nice. And then, okay, all right, let me read more about it. Then the philosophy follows. Yes. So that emotional experience is kripa. That is kripa. That is mercy. That is a philosophy also. But immediately we are uplifted to, for a moment, get a spiritual taste. So this happens again and again. Yes. Not only once an emotional experience and then never again. No, again and again. I myself, I was traveling regularly to India. One person that I knew got involved with the Hare Krishna movement, and through him I became a bit more serious, and he told me to go and visit Vrindavan. He made me aware of Vrindavan. So I went to Vrindavan, the next time I was in India. And I came to the Krishna Balaram temple just around 6:45 at night. And that's when they have Tulsi Puja, in the evening. So they all bowed down. So I said, whoa, here we go. Now we're bowing down to a plant. I was like, it was a little bit. So my mind was like, whoa, what's happening here? A little bit, felt a little bit awkward. And then the Krishna Balaram Mandir has these big wooden doors on the altar. They open up, and where I stood, the altar where I stood, there were 3 pujaris, but where I stood, a white albino pujari came out. It was short and super albino, right? So that was even, more out of this world. This little white, super white man, comes out of these big doors. It's the contrast, big doors, small man. Then he blew the conch shell, and and they pulled open the curtain, and there were the deities, and it just like, my hair stood on end, actually. And I had some experience right then, like something. It was overwhelming. Everything was leading up to it, that Pujari was leading up to it. The whole experience. It was really an experience. And it was very important, that experience. It confirmed what I had already sort of sensed. This place is not of this world. It's spiritual. So, from time to time, again and again, Kripa manifests in 2 ways. Kripa manifests in teachings and service, and Kripa also manifests in a mystical way, where somehow or other something is in the air, something is present, suddenly a feeling emerges, right? Suddenly, it's almost like for a moment the curtain is lifted, you get a glimpse. So we live by, it's not all about self. It's not all about strictly following. It is also connecting with the heart and connecting to Jagannath. It's not only, we hear that in front of Lord Jagannath, connecting with the Lord. Krishna has kindly manifested himself as the deities, and today, on this appearance day of Lord Balaram, we obviously are looking at Lord Balaram. I can turn my head so far. Lord Balaram is the Adi Guru. And why is he the Adi Guru? Krishna is also Guru. Krishna is also, it says that Dhammam tu saksat bhagavat pranitam. Everything begins with Krishna. All religious principles begin with Krishna. Still, it is Balaram who is a manifestation of Krishna, who's particularly known as Adiguru, because Lord Balaram is the one who is the Supreme Lord in the mood of a servant. He's always in the mood of a servant. And he serves the Lord in many, many ways. Like a menial servant, he expands himself. He is the source of the Sandhini Shakti, of the existence potency on which everything rests, both spiritual and material worlds. In the material world, he becomes the three Purusha avatars. Lord Mahavishnu, Prabhudaksai Vishnu, Ksiradaksai Vishnu. Lord Balaram, he becomes Anantasesh. He's there at the bottom of the universe, carrying the universes on his head. Lord Balaram is involved in every aspect in serving, in every possible way. This is what it's about, to somehow or other serve. Right? And to serve the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu particularly. Sachi Mata had a dream, and in the dream there was an offering on the altar of Krishna and Balaram. So deeds of Krishna. And suddenly Gaura were on the altar. And it was a big fight. They started Gaura started arguing with Krishna and Balaram, and especially between Nityananda and Balaram. It became too much. Nityananda told Balaram, get out of here. Get out of here. This offering is ours. It is our yuga. Yes. So Nityananda Balaram. Very much Nityananda Balaram. But Nityananda Balaram is not only the servant of Lord Chaitanya, but he's always an instrument of mercy. Always somehow or other, looking at ways to give mercy, not considering how fallen someone is. Everyone is eligible to get some. So yeah, this is valuable. This is valuable. Because naturally, Lord Nityananda is merciful to all. But if someone is helping him, if someone is doing what he's trying to do, Nityananda will not just, oh, this one is very nice. Oh, this one, yeah. I'll give extra mercy. So, let's think about this. As far as the second initiation is concerned, you'll be receiving the Gayatri mantras. Gaudiya Vaishnavas chant 7 Gayatri mantras. And the first Gayatri is known as the Brahma Gayatri. And the Brahma Gayatri is basically giving that consciousness of Aham Brahmasmi, that I am not this body, I'm spirit, which is what the Brahman is supposed to have. So the Brahmanas are 3 times a day at the Sandhyas, at the joint of day and night, or right at the middle of the day, are reconnecting after the night, in the morning, reconnecting with that spiritual consciousness. I am spirit, I am not matter. In the middle of the day, in the middle of work, stop, reconnect. Before the evening begins, because the evening is when we just let go. Morning sadhana, evening, relaxing. Before we relax, keep the focus. gayatri's. So that is the first, the Brahma Gayatri. The other Gayatri mantras are relating to bhakti. And they're taking us from Sambandha through Abhideya to Prayojana. I'll later on privately give a more intricate explanation. But it's more than a Brahminical initiation. So we have, of course, the Bhagavad Gita list of Brahminical qualities. To be equipoised, to be sense control, to be trying to be austere, to be clean, internally tolerant, to be simple, to not pretend, to just be straightforward and simple, to cultivate knowledge, to have wisdom, realize knowledge, and religiousness, and these are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. That is there. But I have made a metaphor to kind of illustrate a little bit what's going on. There is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya are giving us the topmost. The topmost then is represented by a court high in the circus. And this court is the court of Krishna prema. For an ordinary man, that court is very narrow and it is very, very difficult. Some have tried to go on that court and they even bring a stick to keep their balance. And they walk on that court. Yes, but it's very hard. The more love we have for Krishna, the wider that court becomes. If our heart is filled with love, that court is like a road. We're dancing on it. Now, but whenever we encounter the lack of our love, that court may become very narrow, and then we can easily slip. Don't worry, there is a net below the court. That net is the intricate net of the mode of goodness, of many regulative principles, of prescribed behavior. It tells us how we are supposed to act, how we're not to act, pravijincha, nivijincha, and all these intricate things give us a net so that we don't hit the ground. The ground in this metaphor is the uncontrolled material lifestyle of uncontrolled senses. So above, we stay in the net of principles, the net of vidya and niseda, of positive injunctions and prohibitions. So that is the Brahminical platform, the net. And that saves us from getting entangled in material life. But of course, everyone knows in the circus, when the artist stays in the net, the acrobat stays in the net, the audience will soon go, boo, come on, hey, come on, get up there, hey, right? Climb up that ladder, get up to the top, and walk on the court. So the purpose of this second initiation is that we walk on the court of Krishna prema. Now, at the same time, at the second initiation, we get the license to go onto the altar. It is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Krishna comes, the spiritual world also comes. It's quite natural because when we travel, we also would like to take the whole house with us, but we can't, right? Some get a mobile home then, bigger and bigger, take more. Or you go with Ryanair and, you got the small bag. Yeah. stingy air. What can I say? So we are limited by what we can bring, but Krishna is not limited; he's unlimited. So he brings the whole spiritual world, and therefore the spiritual world he also brings in the form of Vrindavan. But when he comes in his deity form, he also brings the spiritual world. So here's the spiritual world. From after this initiation, you can step into the spiritual world. Here we're looking at the spiritual world from before the altar. But you can step right into the spiritual. Of course, because we're not yet completely on the platform of praying, therefore, as we step into the spiritual, everything is prescribed. We can't do anything casual. Even after second initiation, you can't just go onto the altar for a stroll, just have a close-up look, No. Whatever we do on the altar will be prescribed duty because we are allowed into the spiritual world, but with the principles of the mode of goodness. So in this way, this second initiation is both a Brahminical initiation and a transcendental initiation. The Gayatri mantras then, they offer us meditation. In the first initiation, we are particularly vowing what to do and what not to do. Right? In the second initiation, it's not so much about that. It's about who you are. So now it gets real. Now it gets serious. Who we are. Now the mask has to drop. Thank God. No more mask. But we know mask, and under is another mask. And yesterday I saw also a few people with a few masks. Yeah, there's always those, 2 or 3. So mask after mask, we are wearing. Yeah. But in the second initiation, we begin our meditation on serving Krishna in the world that gives him pleasure. Yeah. Not so much, oh Krishna, help me, please, Krishna. Give me a better job. Oh Krishna, I can't take it any longer. Krishna, give me strength. Krishna, give me hope. Krishna. That's Krishna, give me the visa. Krishna, give me someone. Krishna, no. In the spiritual world, we're giving to Krishna. Krishna, please give me some. So with that, on this blessed day of Lord Balaram's appearance, where Balaram's mercy is especially present, you're taking this initiation. May those blessings manifest in great spiritual strength. The spiritual strength comes from serving enthusiastically. Okay, finally, I also want to welcome to this yajna Anuttara. Anuttara became initiated ages ago. But it was all during during this lockdown phase, and everything was online. And, I did my best. I tried to make it a nice thing. But yeah, okay, a digital fire, I've yet not managed. We're waiting for the program. So today she will also join in this Homa. We're very fortunate that Amara Prabhu is here, because Amara Prabhu, for him, Homa is not just external ritual. He has gone very deep into the meaning and the procedures of performing homas, and And within it, he has made a deep connection with Krishna. It's his particular connection. Everyone has something. Some people, like in Vrindavan, we had one pujari. He's French, and he was before Krishna consciousness into haute couture, and his name was Omkara, right? Prabhupada. And Omkara used to dress all the deities, all of them, in Vrindavan. I mean, it's a lot of deities, right? And all in that short time between Mangalari and Darshan, just like an Omkara. I can't think my shoulders, but just, and it was perfect, you know what I mean? And not only that, he never did the same thing every day. You have pujaris that develop the style, and it's always the same. Nice, but the same. Today it's yellow and in their style, tomorrow it's pink in their style, but always the same. But Omkar, you never knew. I remember one day there was the deities were just in silver outfits, and there was absolutely no color at all, nothing. And only on the head there was orange in different shades, not one color of orange, but different shades, So it looked like flames, And it's just really like, come on, it was something. With him, you never knew what was going to happen. There he really made his connection, a deep, deep connection. He really, really connected. So in the same way, our Amara has really connected in these homas, and it is very, very nice. There is a small, it's a very small Yagishala, but very nice. It looks like there is some kaudan there, coconut or something, and some leaves on the corners. Very, very nicely made. And he will guide us through this procedure and explain more as to what is to come. So soon we'll embark on that. I'm just going to now offer Lisa her first initiation. She'll take the vows and we'll get a new name. Your mother is Sunday. I can't turn my neck. So I have a thing in my back.
Krishna.
Haribo. Of course, the old name also stays because it was given with love, and that is not to be ignored. So the fact that your mother is here, and I met your mother, just everything yesterday was very nice. I really appreciate that, and yeah, she is very nice. She also got girls. Yeah, you're part of it. In fact, if Amara agrees, she can throw the grains that I can throw. Because I can't throw today. So we'll give this to. Anyway, so it is my duty to give your daughter a new name, because it said, if Srila Prabhupada explained, if I don't give her a new name, then she'll stay in the bodily concept of life. Yeah? Then she'll just stay in the old identity from, I belong to this family, I'm this and that. And of course she belongs to the family, but there's more, because the soul is eternal. And as a soul, she's not, the soul was not born from you. Her body was born from you. But the soul was attracted. When husband and wife are united, at that point, there is a certain state of consciousness. And that attracts a certain soul to enter. And that soul is placed under our care. And as parents, it's my child, and sometimes parents feel like this child must do what I want and must become what I want. But when we have this vision that the child is a soul and has been sent to us by the Supreme Word, and now as parents, it's our business to give as many blessings as we can. So therefore, it's very nice you are here, because she's here to do that for continuing blessings. So, but I must give that moment to remind her from, okay, something changed. I got initiated now. Now I have a new identity as a devotee. Okay, we're going to do that once. Yeah. Yes, so we'll make some space. You have to come closer and a bit more in front, because I can go about this far. Okay, so what are the 4 regulated principles that you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
I promise to not eat meat, fish, or eggs, to not do gambling or intoxication, and not visit sex.
And how many rounds are you promising to change?
16 rounds of hard fish.
That's very good. Sometimes I take days to think about names, right? And I just turn this one over, turn that one over. And oftentimes in Vedic culture, it's a tradition to keep the first syllable of the name. Because actually, astrologically, according to the nakshatra that you're born under, the names should begin with certain letters. But because we didn't do that nakshatra anyway, that's not so good. So anyway, I was thinking of names with an L, and this one, that one. It didn't come. So another name came. And it stopped right there. I didn't turn it over, so it's okay. That's what I'm going to do. So from this day on, you will be known as Bhaktilata Devidas.
Purnima!
You know, something like the creeper of Bhakti devotion service. First you get the seed, and then that creeper grows and grows. It grows through the layers of the universe. It grows into the spiritual world and goes to Goloka, where it comes to the lotus feet of Krishna. And this Bhakti Lata, usually creepers need to rest on something, but this creeper stands by itself. Bhakti Lata. It's I like the name. It's just a nice name. If you don't like it, I'll change it. Okay. Then the general Swami.
Good, then we start with the ceremony. So we can come with the first we'll do the puja, and then we will be giving the beads. We change the beads. We get the and when the puja is finished, so the blessings will be there. Then we start, which is short time, but still complete. Good. So meanwhile you can do japa, and while I do the puja and the Agnikaya, actually this is considered to be Panchasamskaram, so it has a sankalpa and as a procedure, means a promise. So in that particular time, we will ask the participants just to meditate fully with their japa on the holy name, so that they get the full benefit of this particular time also, and the blessings of the Vaishnavas who are here. And after I've done the first puja, then the invocation of the fire will be. We have also one Pandit here. What's your name again? Rama Vishnu. Vishnu, he will do Rama Samhita chanting while I will do the invocation of the fire. Okay, so normally we start with the Achman, because Sankalpa, Achman, Pranayam, Sankalpa. So we will do first the Achman. You take the spoon in the left hand, sprinkle the water on the left hand, and then your left hand is pure, and you take again a little water, dip it into your right hand. Take the spoon in the left hand, and then sprinkling on the left hand, take a little water into the right hand, dip it, and then you repeat Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Keshavaya Namaha, and then you sit. Do this same thing. Good. Om Narayana Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha. Sit. And then one more. So, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha. Drink. Then you take the water again, sprinkle on both hands and on yourself. Om Vishnave Namaha, Om Vishnave Namaha. Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvastam Gatopi Va Yasmanet Pundadikaksham Sampaya Avayantara Suchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. So, and if there's that mantra will say that there's impurity, I still meditate on Pundadikaksha, who is Lord Vishnu, has lotus eyes. He will cleanse all my impurities from inside and outside. So that Ashman is the reconciliation or the meditation on Vishnu, who takes all in charge of your body. So we invoke, because in the Panchasamskarams, we invoke on 12 parts, which is Udavapandam. On 12 parts, there will be the names given normally. So you all learned this in that course, but in general, when there's Panchasamskaram, sometimes the disciples don't know. So there's 12 parts which we invoke. That will be, this is the part normally you do the Udapapuna Dharana. But what we will do now, I will do Sankalpa and start with the puja first. We have here, of course, Jagannath and our beloved Subhadra and Baladev. And I also bring here in the Kalasha, because people may ask why there's Kalasha, because it represents Lord Narasimha and Sudarshana. So they are for purification, and because samskara always means purification, so means we get purified and get ready into the process of devotional service. So Sudarshan Narasimha will be there shortly invoked in the Kalash and a little sprinkled around. And then I start with the Agnikaya. After the puja, you will get your Tulsi, but you still do brief japa chanting right now. And yes, so that will be just the first thing. Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Govinda Govinda Jaya Shri Bhagavato Bhagavata Pancha Samskaram Karma Ham Karashi Om Bho Savam Om Asam samapayami Om Vindashvakshenaya Namaha. Virajaya Namaha. Yogam Pushpam Mega Pushpavan 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 Bhavati Chandrama Bhavatam Pushpavan Pushpavan Samapayami Jupam Magrapayami Om Dorvasi Dorva Dorvantam Dorvyostam Dorvadam Dorvamastam Devam Asi. Kapuraniranjan Samapayami. Paramantaram Nyasthanam Paritishthati Om Bhusarashanam Avahayami Om Bhusarashanam Avahayami Om Suvadarashanam Avahayami Om Bhurvasvasva Sudarshanam Avahayami Om Sudarshanaya Vidmahe Heti Rajaya Dhimahi Tanno Chakra Prachodayat. Mangel kannst du hier die Tutsi umlegen. Yes. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda Sarvakaranam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Suravira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sedamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Tvanantamaravinda Galayakaksham Parhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandalpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Soham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kala Sadvanamalya Vamshi Ratnangadam Pranaya Kezi Kala Vilasam Shamam Trivangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chirangaranti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vejahasya Govindamadi Purusham Bhajami Advaitamashyutamanadi Vananta Purana Purusham Jaya Devi Durlabhamadurlabha Govindamadi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Sarasamgaramyo Vayo Ratapi Manaso Munikundavana Sopyasti Yastrapatasinya Vichitya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Eko Vyasau Rachayutum Jagadanda Kotim Yachakti Asti Jagadanda Jayaya Nanta Andhantarasya Paramanu Jayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yadbhava Bhavita Diyo Manujastra Daiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasanayana Purushaha Soberyameva Nigama Pratitaistu Vanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Pratibhavita Ves Kabhirya Eva Nijarupa Taya Karavi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Khilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santas Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yamena Tishthan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramahpamanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti कोटिशेषवसुधादिविभूतिभिन्नं तद्ब्रह्मनिश्चलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि माया हि यस्य जगदण्डशतानि सूते त्रैगुण्यतद्विषयवेदवितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मयरसस्मृतया मनसु यः प्राणिनां प्रतिफलं स्मरतामुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयत्यजस्रम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोलोकनाम्नि निजधाम्नि तदेश तस्य देवी महेश हरिधाम सुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया विहिताश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि सृष्टिस्थिति प्रलय साधन शक्तिरेका छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि तथावृतगस्ति हेतो यशम्भुतामपि तथा समुपेति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि दीपाचिरे बहिदशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विग्रहेतु समानधर्मा यस्तादृगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यः कारणार्णवजले भजति स्म योगा निद्रं मनन्त जगदण्डसरोमकूप आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमथावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णु महान् सह्यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आस्मान्यथाश्म सकलेषु निजेषु तेजः स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्यभितद्वदत्र ब्रह्माय एष जगदण्डविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यत्पादपल्लवमुगं विनिधाय तुम्भा वन्दे प्रणामसमये सगणाधिराजा विघ्नान् विहन्तुमलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अग्निर्मही गगनमम्बुमरुद्यशश्च कालस्तदात्ममनसीति जगत्त्रयाणि यस्माद्भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशन्ति यं च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यच्चक्षुरेष सविता सकलाग्रहाणां राजा समस्तसुरमूर्तिरशेषतेजः यस्याज्ञया भ्रमति संहृतकालचक्रो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि धर्मोऽथ पापनिचयाश्रुतयस्तपांसि ब्रह्मादिगीतपटगावदयश्च जीवा यद्दात्रमात्र विभव प्रकटप्रभाव गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्मिन्द्रगोपमथवेन्द्रमहो स्वकर्म बन्धानरूपफलभाजनमातनोति कर्माणि निर्दहति किन्तु जभक्तिभाजां गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यं क्रोधकामसहज प्रणयादिभीति वात्सल्यमोहगुरुगौरवसेव्यभावै सञ्चिन्त्य तस्य सदृशीं तनुमापुरेते Govindamadipurusham Taham bhajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Guma Bhumish Chintamani Ganamai Toyamamritam Tatha Ganam Natyam Gamanam Api Vamshi Vyasaki Chidanandam Jyoti Paramapi Tadasvadyamapi Cha Sayatra Shiradvi Savati Surabhi Vyasati Maha Nimeshadhatu Vagati Nagoyatrati Samaya Yadi Veta Dipam Paham Nilagulokanitiyam Udantasti Santakshiti Vilalachara Kadipaye Vishivam Sangeeta Sampurnam.
So now you take your grades, it's the grades. There's a special mantra that you catch the grades. We have a lot of mantras to chant, and we do each 3 times. Yes. So that is the mother. Yes. Kariga mudra. Not this one. This one. Yeah. So this is, we are catching the grains with this, and then you can feel it comes from your heart. You offer it into the fire. It will be difficult for you when you sit too far to catch the fire. And you have also very less grains. We have a lot of mantras and less grains. So just take few grains and throw them inside the fire. So meanwhile, there's this offering which is called Swahaka. Swahaka or Swaha is Agni's wife. So she takes the offerings, brings it to Agni, and Agni delivers it to Vishnu. So the fire ends here, those are the tongues of Vishnu. So there he devours and takes the offerings. So therefore we do one mantra and then we do Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. You can, you normally don't have like so much grains now, so you chant only Swaha, Swaha, and the third time you take the little grains and put it inside. Okay? Yeah. So we start with, this is called Mangalacharana Homa or Vaishnava Homa, which gives reference to the Parampara, to the teacher, and to the concept of Sambandha, Avidya, and Prayojana. And those are interconnected with the dhyana mantras of Krishna. So those will end, and we will start with the teacher. So normally there will be reference for the general teacher, like there are different types of gurus, Chaitya Guru, Pradakshana Guru who is guiding you to the teacher, and the Diksha Guru. So that will be the first session, and then we will add up to Bhakti Siddhanta and to the cyclic succession. So yeah, that's a very serious thing, and so I ask you to concentrate on that. Banana is there for the end, so we will not put the banana inside because the banana is an offering, as the grains. The banana becomes maha when it touches the fire. So what we can do, and there is the final thing, you will touch the banana just like a little bit on the fire and put it aside. And there's no need to be totally burnt, and there's nothing has to do with karma getting inside. You should not eat this banana and all that. This is an offering to Vishnu. This is your first offering after you got initiated to Lord Vishnu himself. So therefore, this is made like that. Okay, so you have to repeat word for word. This is very simple prayers. Most of you know. Okay. Ajnana Mirannasya Yanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Swaha. Right. Om Ajnana Smiranasya Niranjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Namatyam Nadati Swadantikam Swaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Bhagavatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Adam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidamscha Swaha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Kadamba Karana Swami Namine Swaha Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Gurudasa Ayadvaita Swami Dinamine Swaha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Acharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Eshatarine Swaha Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Vishabhana Devi Daitaya Kripad Nai Krishna Sambandha Jnana Aine Bhavave Namaskaha Swaha Madhuri Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktira Shri Dora Karuna Shakti Namostute. Namaste. Gauravani. Shrimurtaye. Dinacharine. Panuka. Yuga. Avasidanta. Anta. Harine. Swaha. Namo Gaurav Kishoraya Saksha Vairagya Kalamba Rasami no, that's all right. Rasam Bore, Rasam Bore, Aram Bujaya, Te Namaha, Swaha, Namah Bhakti Vinodaya, Ananda, Namine, Gaura Shakti, Swarupaya, Rupanuga, Varayate, Gaura Avya Bhava, Umishtvam, Niyadishta, Satjanapriyaha, Vaishnava, Sarvabhauma, Shri Jagannathaya, Te Namaha, Panchakalpa, Satjanapriya, okay, Panchakalpa, Narupyascha, Kripa, Sindhubhyaha, Vacha, Avanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Swaha, Namo Mahaparanaya, Krishna Prema, Gadaite, Krishnaya, Krishna Chaitanya, Namne, Gauratishe, Namah Swaha, Pancha Tattva Atmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Swaha He Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Namostute, Swaha, Jayatam, Surajo, Ango, Mama, Mandamate, Kati, Vatsavasya, Paramit Boja, Naramadana, Mohano, Swaha. Divya Vrindaranya Mata Srimad Ratnakara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Krishna Lipihi Yamano Smarami Swaha Shriman Rasarangi Vamshivata Matasita Karshan Venus Svane Gopir Gopinata Yestunaha Swaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudevi Pranamami Haripriye Swaha Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Om Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Swaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Swaha No japa, and I will do completing the fire and Purnima, and we will stand up and do the final. Just do japa, I will just closing down the fire, so we can proceed. Om Shri Namo Om Yamama Parayata Shana Swaha Shana Namo Om Rangana Parayata Swaha Shana Om Namo Parayata Swaha Om Rangana Parayata Swaha Then when you finish, you do circumambulation in the fire 3 times. Om Simutamamya Hoti Sarvam Maipo Nahoti Sarvameva Noti Ado Yam Maipo Nahoti Asyameva Padishti Om Shabdare Agni Samira Shabdarashaya Shabdaramapriyani Shabdotama Om Vishnu Parama Paragam Sara Pasyanti Soya Divi Vakshakshvaram Advipracho Vipanyava Jnatmasha Shamindare Vishnu Yat Paramam Param Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Swaha. Banana. Just touch the fire. Krishna. Om Aparad Sahasrani Kriyam Om Om Yo Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apaha Shanti Vayu Shanti Lokaha Shanti Brahma Shanti Vidya Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasadi Ora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Namacharya Siddharidas Thakur ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Sri Brahma Manava Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya ki jai. Prem Sikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Ramachandra. Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Kovara Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Chama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sri Ramayapur ki jai, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Sri Balaram Jayanti ki jai, Sri Balaram Purnima ki jai, Shri Balaram Avirbhav Mahamahotsav ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to Sri Guru. Sri Guru. Glories to Sri Guru. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So we will come together for some more time now to offer some time for the Balaram as well, because it's actually his day today. So maybe, please take a seat and say something about Balaram.
Something. Where's the microphone? Hare Krishna. So if those who want to listen, sit down. We will honor Lord Balaram. Okay, kind of. So this is Vasiva Pusi Visade Vasanam Jala Dabam Alaiti Viti Milita Yamunam Ke Savadruta Aladara Rupa Jai Jagadisa Hare Jai Jagadisa Hare Jai Jagadisa Hare. Aladara Rupa, Lord Balaram, who is holding the plow. It is said that Lord Balaram, Krishna and Balaram, when they are in Vrindavan, Krishna is carrying a flute and Balaram is carrying the plow. Lord Balaram said is plowing the field, preparing the field, so that all the unwanted things are taken out of the field, that the field is ready for sowing bhakti. It is Krishna, Achyuta, who is the instructor. And Lord Balaram, he is preparing the field of the heart. So in this way, it is through Lord Balaram that we come to Krishna. We don't go to Krishna directly. We're always going through Lord Balaram. When it comes to the demons in Vrindavan, we see there's a long list of demons that visited Vrindavan and that were killed by Krishna. But there are a few that were killed by Balaram. So amongst those are, of course, Dvivida the gorilla, Denakasura, and Pralambasura. So it is said that Pralambasura was the Matsyo type, muscle and just interested in women. Lust was his problem. Denakasura was not very intelligent, but he was at the same time very proud of his own intelligence and ability. Dvivida the gorilla was just uncontrolled, and his mind and senses were uncontrolled, and he just became completely a victim of his own uncontrolled nature. So it is said in the Chaitanya Siksamrita of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains the inner meaning of all the various demons. Like, for example, Putana is the false guru because she's the mother and she's supposed to teach her child, and the child fully trusts that whatever my mother is teaching me, that's right, and she's cheating. She comes as a mother to kill. So she is representing the false guru. Agasura is representing, he takes the form of a snake because he's cold-blooded. For him, human beings are utensils, something you use and dispose of. But then these three demons, so it is said that all these anarthas, all these impurities are within us also to a degree. The ruthlessness of Agasura to a degree is within us. The pride and arrogance of Kamsa is to a degree in us. And so on. And it says in the process of devotional service, all these anarthas will be purified. But the three demons that are killed by Balaram, those are things we have to give up ourselves by making a conscious endeavor. Of course, we cannot just give up lust if it was so easy. but we have to endeavor for it. Unless we make a conscious endeavor to give it up, it will remain a stumbling block. So in this way, we can see how Balaram is actually preparing the field. The foolishness, the pride that Denakasura had, his sense that I am so great, I am so wonderful, which had made him completely insensitive to others and so on. That also has to be exchanged for humility. The lusty desires of Pralambasura was representing the lust, and Dvita Gorilla, just uncontrolled senses. Senses, if we want to elevate ourselves, then we must control the senses. So I mentioned in my earlier lecture during the initiation that Lord Balaram is the Sandini potency. It is said that the internal energy of Krishna is the energy of the spiritual world. This internal energy consists of three divisions: the Sandini Shakti, the Samvit Shakti, and the Ladini Shakti. The Sandini Shakti is the existence potency, and all existence is resting on Balaram. Balaram becomes Vrindavan. He becomes the spiritual world. So the spiritual world is Vrindavan, is in this world, but also Golok Vrindavan, and it is Balaram who's manifesting that world. Balaram is also manifesting the material worlds, and he becomes Mahavishnu and manifests the universes from his pores. As carbon dioxide Vishnu, he enters within each universe, and as Ksirodioxide Vishnu, within the heart of every living being and even within every atom. So Balaram takes all these forms, so he is the source of all existence. Balaram expands himself in various forms, and he expands himself as Sankarshan. So he is not Sankarshan, but Sankarshan is his expansion. It is said that Sankarshan is also known as Jiva, or he is the origin of all living beings. So since he's the Sandini Shakti, our existence also rests on Balaram, ultimately. So in that way, Balaram is the complete servant of Krishna. He provides in every possible way. Balaram, known as Bala, as being very strong, and Ram as being very happy and very ecstatic. So this devotional service leads to spiritual strength, and it leads to deep happiness. In the case of Nityananda, we see also Nitya Ananda, who is also Balaram. He appeared again as Balaram, and always happy. So such happiness is happiness based on transcendence. Ramanti yogino nante satchananda chiratani iti rama padena so param brahma vidiyate. That this Ram is transcendental happiness, happiness that is beyond the three modes of material nature, the results of devotional service. So that is Balaram. Balaram is therefore the embodiment of spiritual strength. And that spiritual strength is happiness. When we are happy in spiritual life, then we can do anything. Then anything is totally inspiring, satisfying, it's wonderful, we want nothing else. Right? Then what can the material energy do to us? What will Maya do to me now when we are totally beaming with happiness and Krishna consciousness? You see. So therefore, this happiness on the spiritual plane and spiritual strength are synonymous. So Balaram is not only the possessor of spiritual strength, but also the giver of spiritual strength. By praying to Lord Balaram, one can receive spiritual strength. By serving Krishna, and in that way, assisting Balaram, one is gaining spiritual strength. Srila Prabhupada would tell the devotees in Vrindavan to go pray to Lord Balaram for strength. If they had a problem, Prabhupada would just send them to go to Balaram. Just go to Balaram. Yeah, any difficulty? How do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? Go to Balaram. Just go to Balaram. Yes. So today, we are here actually having the presence of Lord Baladev, right? So that is our good fortune. It's not an ordinary thing. All right, it is the day after Rath Yatra, which was very nice to actually offer the Lord a Rath Yatra. And in that way, it also specially became Lord Baladev's Rath Yatra. It virtually speaking, became a festival as a prelude to Lord Balaram's appearance. I see that as not coincidental, but I see that as very natural in the midst of this era where, due to the lack of association with the devotees and with other devotees, the devotees are struggling. Srila Prabhupada went to America, started preaching in New York and in the Matchless Gifts. A whole group of devotees was developing, and the Matchless Gift storefront is a little longer than this room and a little more narrower. It's 1 meter less wide, and I would say 3 meters longer than this place. So it's very small. It has that same intimate mood that we are having here in the Berlin storefront. And Prabhupada started there, and so many devotees, they were swept up. Prabhupada coming in the line of Lord Balaram, carrying that same spirit of service to Krishna, was investing everyone with spiritual power. Then, in due course of time, Prabhupada went to San Francisco, and they said, "What will we do now in your absence?" Prabhupada said, "Just put the picture on the seat, and you worship the picture." And Prabhupada came back after quite some time to New York, and he found that the devotees, when he started the kirtan, he noticed that they become weak. He could see that the absorption wasn't there. Yeah, not like before, but then after some hesitant rounds, some cycles of chanting, okay, the mood picked up again. And yes, they were back, by Prabhupada's grace. So in the same way, now after this pandemic era, and being a bit deprived of devotee association, devotee festivals, and all these things, it was like a source of spiritual strength, a source of rejuvenation, a source of reconnecting. And especially Lord Balaram is the giver of that spiritual strength. So I see this Rath Yatra particularly in the light of Lord Baladev's appearance. Okay, that's an additional note. Lord Balaram is always in the mood of being the servant of Krishna. Therefore, although Balaram is the elder brother, he sort of lets Krishna come to the foreground. Technically speaking, Balaram is an expansion of Krishna, a Vaibhav Vilas expansion. Vaibhav, it means he has the full mood of Krishna. But for pastimes, for the sake of enjoyment, he has now appeared as white. So here is Krishna, who is blackish. He has appeared as white. Although in Vrindavan, in Madhuvan, there is one place, one small temple, where once, it is in a place where Balaram was chanting japa. Balaram was seated and he was chanting the name of Krishna. And as Balaram was chanting japa, he became so absorbed in remembering Krishna, because chanting japa is about hearing, chanting, and remembering these three. And it's not just about, Prabhupada would say, attentive chanting means to hear ourselves chanting. So the hearing and the chanting go together, and then the remembering comes. And as the remembering grows over time, our chanting takes a different dimension. In the beginning, it's mechanical. We're just repeating this sound. Right? That's what we're doing. The sound. But then then we are hearing about Krishna. Krishna from within the heart reveals himself. We'll know more and more about Krishna. And gradually, the Mahamantra comes to life because there's the person Krishna in his name. So in this way, the Smaranam is growing and developing. So Balaram was chanting, and Balaram's Smaranam was so deep. He was so much remembering Krishna that at one point, Balaram's body turned blackish. He became black like Krishna. Now that's what you call chanting. That's what we're like, remembering Krishna. So when it comes to japa, Balaram is also the example, the Adi Guru. I mean, I don't think any of us just changed color chanting and with such deep absorption in Krishna. Balaram is always thinking of Krishna. Even when Balaram is dreaming, then Balaram is dreaming of Krishna, naturally. And Balaram was dreaming of Krishna performing the Kaliya pastime. And the thing about this Kaliya pastime, there's this huge multi-hooded serpent, and Krishna is in the coils of this serpent, and it goes on forever. It goes on for a very, very long time, and everyone is just on the edge of anxiety. See, anxiety is like this, that there is a stage of anxiety, then there's more anxiety, and then when it's most anxiety, then you're at a point where you cannot register anymore. You've sort of just come to the, and that's where you kind of just go in a sort of fixed state of anxiety. So the residents of Vrindavan had gone into this state of anxiety. They just couldn't register it anymore. And Balaram was dreaming about this. And Balaram said, Krishna, now it's enough. Stop playing around. Now kill this demon. Kill him, because it's too much. I mean, really, people, they cannot no longer tolerate it. They're going to die. They're going to leave their bodies if it goes on like this. Right? This is getting too much. No, Balaram. No, Krishna. Do something now. Right? Balaram was speaking out loud while he was dreaming. He was taking a nap, and meanwhile everyone heard him speak to Krishna. That is Balaram. So Balaram is completely Krishna conscious, always Krishna conscious. He is always remembering Krishna every moment. Every moment. That is Balaram. Yes, Balaram likes honey. I hope today we will be offering some honey to Lord Balaram. Somehow or other, we have to find some honey to offer, because if there is no honey, then the offering is not complete. In the Harivamsa, there's an interesting story. In the Harivamsa, there's an interesting story. There is, we know that Krishna and Balaram had gone to Mathura with Akrura. He took them away to on the order of Kamsa to bring them for the wrestling match, and that in that wrestling match, Krishna and Balaram showed their prowess. First, Krishna killed an elephant, and then they broke the tusk of this elephant, and they walked into the wrestling arena carrying the tusks. So they showed they were powerful. They were supposed to fight with enormous wrestlers. They defeated these wrestlers quite easy. And after that, Krishna and Balaram stayed in Mathura to protect the city of Mathura. Because now that Kamsa had been killed, Kamsa was the protector of Mathura also. Although he was demoniac, no one dared to touch Mathura. But now, Krishna and Balaram stayed in Mathura. Jarasandha, the father-in-law of Kamsa, came with a huge army, and 17 times, I think it was, that he came and was defeated all these times. Right? Krishna and Balaram just smashed them. Just the two of them took on the whole army and came out and smashed the whole army. But then Jarasandha always came back with another big army. So at one point, Krishna and Balaram felt that it was too much for Mathura to be always under siege. Right? So they decided to go somewhere else. And they left the battlefield, and on the way they met Parasuram. Parasuram instructed them to take shelter of a mountain. So they took shelter of a mountain. So Jarasandha, whose associate was the king of Chedi, who is none other than Shishupal, they were chasing Krishna and Balaram. So, they're on this mountain. They're hiding on top of this mountain. And the king of Chedi had a brilliant idea. What we will do is we will pack a lot of firewood at the base of this mountain. We'll set it on fire and we'll roast them on that mountain. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Jarasandha said, brilliant. And so they took the action and packed the mountain with wood. Then they set fire to that wood, and it created a tremendous heat because a huge amount of wood. So it created tremendous heat. And what happened was, due to the heat, part of here and there, the mountain cracked and water came out, but that water turned into steam due to the heat, and the steam threw rocks. So rocks were flying in all directions, killing some of the soldiers of Jarasandha's army, right? Anyway, Meanwhile, Krishna and Balaram, they were on top of this mountain. Now, this takes place in another yuga. So the mountain was 80 kilometers high. Now we have the Mount Everest, but that was a little bigger. High on the mountain, there were fruit orchards. And in these fruit orchards, there was honey. So Balaram said, Krishna, Yes, let's drink some of this honey. So Balaram was drinking the honey, and after some time, Balaram became totally intoxicated from drinking so much honey. And in that intoxicated state, Balaram decided to jump off the mountain. Some say that Balaram jumped off the mountain because of the fire. But that was not true. Balaram jumped off the mountain because he was intoxicated. And Balaram just jumped off that mountain and said, "Hey, Krishna, look," and he just jumped. So then Krishna also jumped. So Balaram landed first. Now, Balaram has two weapons, a club and a plow. In Vrindavan, he carries the plow, but when he's out of Vrindavan, he carries a club, right, as his weapon. So this time, he manifested both. So in one hand, he had the plow, and the other hand, the club. Then with the plow, he would pull the soldiers close, and then with the club, he would give them some medicine. So in this way, Balaram knocked out a whole contingent of the army, and then he moved on, and then Krishna landed, and then Krishna also knocked over some Akshahinis, some groups of soldiers. So in this way, Jarasandha was defeated again, and then Krishna and Balaram went to Dwarka, to Prabhas Kshetra, where they erected a city in the ocean. Anyway, so Balaram and honey. And we know that once Balaram was intoxicated and had been drinking honey again, and that he was near the Yamuna, and that he asked the Yamuna to come near, and that Yamuna was afraid. Yamuna Devi was afraid, and that Balaram then took his plow and scraped the earth and forced the Yamuna to come, and the Yamuna then broke up in many streams. And Balaram said, "And if you don't come now, I will destroy you completely." So Yamuna appeared. Lord Balaram has a temper. Of the two brothers, Balaram, he can get a bit angry sometimes. There is a situation where the Kurus lived in their city called Indraprastha, and in that city, they were the ruling family of the world. So Krishna had settled now in Dwarka, and Krishna was walking around. Yes. So what happened was that Aniruddha, Krishna's son, right, had gotten involved with Duryodhana's daughter, Lakshmana. And it was not really an appropriate meeting. That meeting was a secret meeting, and so on. And the result was that the Kurus, they came and they captured him. Well, then, then the residents of Dwarka went to that location, and they demanded that immediately he would be released. And the Kurus said, "Who are they? What is going on here? We are the emperors. We are the ruling royal family. And Krishna, where does he get his royal insignia from anyway? We allowed him to use royal attributes like a white umbrella and a throne and all these things, whereas otherwise, who is he? Right? Who is he? to even carry such symbols. Then Balaram became very angry and said, Krishna cannot sit on the throne. Krishna is the one who gave you the throne. Krishna is the original ruler of the entire three worlds. And Balaram took again his plow and he dragged the whole city towards the river. And he was about to throw the city into the river. And then all the Kurus quickly came out and to pacify him and everything was all right. So Balaram has a temper. Don't mess with Balaram. We also know in our Pangajangri, who used to tell us so many stories about Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, Subhadra, tells the story how in Mayapur, in Rajpur is the temple of Lord Jagannath. And there, it is actually an area where there's a Muslim village around the temple. So all the neighbors are really Muslims. And they have some orchards and so on. And it is said that one Muslim who came to the temple one day and he saw a very nice decoration on the nose of Subhadra, who's in the middle, right? So no one was watching. So he reached out and tried to snatch. And just then, Balaram just gave him a whack with his arm, like that his head was spinning. And of course he left, the thief, he left. But the next day he came back with a big offering to the deities. And they asked him, he said, why? You are a Muslim. What are you doing here making an offering to the deities? He said, no, this white one, he is angry with me. He is angry with me, you know. And then he told the story and how Balaram slapped him. So he was decided to pacify. Yes. So that is Balaram. Right? He's also the protector of Krishna. He's the elder brother. Right? Balaram has a little bit a parental sense that because he's the elder brother of Krishna, he feels that he has to protect Krishna. And it's like it says there is a group of... Hey, you fold this thing. Yeah. There's a group of cowherd boys who are with Balaram, and they are a little older than Krishna. So they're all in that mood of protecting Krishna. And then, of course, many demons come. And one of the demons that came was this Aristasura, a big bull, a demon in the form of a big bull. And then one day, Balaram and these elder cowherd boys, they saw a big cloud and they thought, oh, Aristasura is back. Immediately they raised their sticks, right? Always eager to protect Baladev. So Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan established the Krishna Balaram Mandir. That is quite something, that Krishna and Balaram are on the central altar in one of our most important temples in the world. Not just a temple, but a temple for the whole world. Every devotee, sooner or later, will come to Vrindavan. Right? How can you not go to Vrindavan, the home of Krishna? So sooner or later, we have to visit Vrindavan, of course. And then there is Krishna and Balaram. So that's very interesting. Some might have thought, well, we are the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and isn't it that the focus is especially on Radha and Krishna? And then you would have thought, well, shouldn't Radha Shama Sundar have been on the main altar? And then on the side altar, you put Krishna Balaram. Now, why was it that Prabhupada was specifically a devotee of Krishna and Balaram? Prabhupada, of course, was a devotee of Krishna Balaram, but Prabhupada was also a devotee of Radha Shama Sundar. But Prabhupada explains in the purpose to the Chaitanya Charitamrita that he installed Krishna and Balaram because they're non-different from Gaur Nitai. And that we cannot go to Vrindavan without the mercy of Gaur Nitai. I, of course, joined this movement in that temple in Vrindavan, the Krishna Balaram temple. I spent many years there. And so we used to have kirtans, and sometimes we had Jai Krishna Balaram, and we would just chant Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, in front of Gaur Nitai. And then we would go in front of Krishna Balaram, and we would just chant Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, to remind ourselves that they are non-different from Gaur Nitai. And Gaur Nitai are particularly the deities of this particular yuga, right? So, yes, we need the mercy. Who are we to enter Vrindavan? Radha and Krishna. I was there standing in front of Radha Krishna every day. Oh, so beautiful. But I realized one thing. I heard about Krishna. I heard about the gopis, about their pastimes, and they were very enlivening, wonderful pastimes. At one point the gopis said, oh Krishna, you say that you are God, then you must prove it. Lord Ramachandra, he is God, and he made a bridge over the water. So then, if you are God, then you should also be able to make a bridge here over this Sarovar, over this lake, right? Lord Ramachandra did it with monkeys. Well, look in the trees here, there are monkeys. Mm-hmm. And look, there are stones as well. So, go ahead and show who you are. And all the monkeys came out of the trees. And all the monkeys took stones and they wrote the name Krishna on the stones and put it in the water. And the stones were floating. And it became a bridge. And Jai Sisi Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. So in this way, pastimes with the gopis are taking place, and they're very nice, very sweet to hear. But then many of these pastimes are about the love that the gopis felt for Krishna. And as I was in Vrindavan, I heard a lot about such things, because there the devotees, they are remembering such pastimes more. But I realized one thing is that although these stories about Radha and Krishna were very inspiring, I did not have the love that the gopis had. So I could not enter, I could not get on that level. Whatever I have, is not enough to read. So I'm an outsider when it goes about Krishna and the gopis. Then I'll be an outsider. I'm always the outsider. So we turn to Gaur Nitai, to Nityananda Balaram for mercy. It is only by mercy that we can come to Krishna. Whenever we are with Krishna and entering into the pastimes of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna is walking with Balaram and herding the cows. And the hoofs of the cows and calves are throwing up dust in the air, which creates some darkness. Therefore, it is said the pastimes of Krishna are always covered with darkness. And as a result, the pastimes of Krishna are always mysterious. There's always dimensions that we just don't know, that we can't enter. And that is the nature of Krishna's pastimes. So we turn to Balaram, to Goinitai, to Nityananda Balaram, to in that mood of service again. Right? And then we can return to the mood of approaching Radha and Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in the purports to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila chapter 8, he says that one should worship both Radha and Krishna and the Panchatattva, which is Goinitai and their immediate associates. He said one should not worship one to the exclusion of the other. One should worship both. And how does it work? We turn to Goinitai. And when we turn to Goinitai, they engage us in Harinam Sankirtan. They engage us in service. And immediately, because no offense is considered, there is some ecstasy. Then we turn to Radha and Krishna. And we serve Radha and Krishna. And when we meet the limits of our love in the relationship with Radha and Krishna, we turn again to Krishna Balaram Goinitai. And in this way, we go from one to the other, again and again. And our whole spiritual life is like this, that we go from each time that we reach our limit in approaching Krishna and his Gopi associates in Vrindavan, then we turn to Lord Nityananda Balaram and Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Vrajendra Nanda, Vrajendra Nandan ye Sachi Sutta Hoila se Balaram Hoila Nitai. So Vrajendra Nandan is the son of Sachi, Chaitanya, and Balaram is Nitai. So it is in this way that Krishna and Balaram are our shelter, are the shelter for this movement. Some people think, well, some people look at the external reason. The external reason is that the temple is situated in Ramanreti in Vrindavan, which literally means soft sand. So Ramanreti is an area where where Krishna and Balaram would come every afternoon and rest with the cows. The cows would rest there under the trees, and Krishna and Balaram would be there every afternoon. In the heat of the day, the cows would rest a bit, and then as it cools down a little, the cows would start moving. So even when I came into Vrindavan, Ramanreti was still very much like that. Now so many buildings have come up, but it used to be a field, and we used to sit there. There was a house next to the field with a wall, and you could sit on the wall. I used to sit on this wall, chant japa there, look at the cows resting under the trees every afternoon. And there was a Krishna Balaram tree, where two trees were growing on top of each other. A black tree and a white tree on top. So Krishna Balaram manifested in the trees right there in Ramanreti. Yes, now the white tree has left, no longer manifest, so only the black tree is there. It's still called Krishna Balaram tree, but it used to be. So we used to sit there chanting from the Krishna Balaram tree. I'd sit on the wall and then as it was getting dark, the cows would, getting cooler, the cows would start moving, and then just all the peacocks would come, and some 60 peacocks would go into the trees there. So it was a really nice place. And right now it's just buildings and ashrams and a little bit left, but it's not like it was. And so when the temple was built, it was there in Ramanreti, and it's the place of Krishna Balaram. So therefore it's suitable that the temple is also dedicated to Krishna Balaram. So people suggest, therefore the temple is Krishna Balaram. But for Krishna Balaram Mandir. But we see the Prabhupada's explanation in the Chaitanya Charitamrita purports is a little deeper. And that we understand that we need Krishna and Balaram. We need Gaur-Nitai if we want to be able to enter Vrindavan, because we are there only by mercy. In Vrindavan, there is a gate called the Prabhupada Gate. And you go through that Prabhupada Gate, and then you come to the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Yes, we came through the Prabhupada Gate in Vrindavan. There's no other entrance point for us, right? Somehow or other. That's our entrance point, the Prabhupada Gate. Otherwise, how could we ever be in such an exalted place? Wherever we are from, Berlin, I don't know Berlin, but I know I'm from Amsterdam, and I suspect that Berlin is similar in many ways to Amsterdam. And then what can I say? One devotee who was German devotee, not German. He told me, "Oh, you should take your bath in Radhakund. In Radhakund, you should take your bath." And I told him, "Was macht ein Hund in Radhakund?" What is a dog doing in Radhakund? It's such an exalted place, and I'm not qualified. Balaram. Balaram makes us qualified. That is the point. How? Through service. Therefore, when we go to Vrindavan, right, we do not just go to Krishna Balaram Mandir, right, and to take darshan of the deities. But when we come to Vrindavan, this is our opportunity to serve. You come to the Krishna Balaram Mandir. I'm speaking from the Krishna Balaram Mandir because for many, many years, I was leading that project. And I was in charge of that project. And then I'll tell you that story also. So we developed a vision for what our service was. We were there in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Prabhupada said there should be 25 Goswamis in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. There should be 25 who are just like the Goswamis. I always wanted to be one of them. Still aspiring for it. But anyway, Krishna Balaram Mandir is an opportunity for us, for devotees from the whole world, to come and to serve the deities, to serve Srila Prabhupada. And by doing so, we become eligible to enter Vrindavan. We've come to the Prabhupada Gate, to the Krishna Balaram Mandir. There we're following in the footsteps of Balaram, and we're serving, engaging in devotional service. Yes. We used to clean the temple every day, twice, still going on, twice a day. But the devotees used to clean the temple. Now they have some workers. It's not good. They should have devotees. And we used to clean it at 2 a.m, so that before Mangal Arati, right, at 2 a.m, we'd go into the temple and just wash down the whole temple. We'd wash it with clean. First we sweep it, then we wash it with clean water, and then sprinkle some rose water also. So there would be a very sweet, very fresh scent in the temple for Mangala Arati. And Srila Prabhupada wanted 24-hour kirtan for Krishna and Balaram. He said it should always be 24-hour in Vrindavan. It should be 24-hour kirtan. Now he said, how are we going to do this? This is too difficult. This is not possible. It's like we don't have devotees, right? We just don't have enough devotees for this. So we tried to keep it going at least during the aratis. Right? So we said every arati there should be at least every arati there should be kirtan, and we did that. Right? And we would also in festivals invite foreign devotees to come and sing for Krishna and Balaram in that mood of like, come and do some service for Krishna and Balaram. The visiting devotees, please come and do some kirtan. Please come to the temple and sing. Then Indra came and he took that service to make that 24-hour kirtan a reality. And sitting right opposite of Krishna and Balaram and chanting that kirtan 24 hours, and that's still going on. And so when we go to Vrindavan, let us just sit there in front of Krishna and Balaram and chant. That is service. Or let us join and clean the temple. Or if you're into garlands, you thought that at Rath Yatra, before Rath Yatra, there were a lot of flowers here. Wait till you come to Vrindavan and see how many flowers they have there. Ho, ho, ho. Enough garlands to make, Yes. Let us come. We come to Vrindavan to serve in that mood of Lord Balaram. And in this way, Balaram gives us entrance. And who else could it be? It is Balaram himself who manifests Vrindavan. He is Vrindavan. He is the Sandini Shakti. So he who manifests Vrindavan is, welcome to my home. Please come. Welcome to this wonderful abode, right? Vrindavan. Vrindavan is not an ordinary place. Vrindavan is the place which is 100%. Everything in Vrindavan is just 100% for the pleasure of Krishna. Everything. That is Vrindavan. Vrindavan is also a state of consciousness. Not only a place, but a state of consciousness. So if your consciousness is 100% arranged for the pleasure of Krishna, not like, okay, Krishna, I'll give you a donation, €2, right? And the other 50, I'll keep in my pocket. No, 100%, everything for Krishna. When one has Vrindavan consciousness, which is the consciousness of Balaram. When one has Vrindavan consciousness, everything in one's mind that is there is for the pleasure of Krishna. Every thought, every plan, every meditation for the pleasure of Krishna. We pray to Balaram that we may realize such Vrindavan consciousness. And by entering Vrindavan Dham, we are getting that mercy. I was planning to stay there in the temple my whole life and serve those deities, and I'm still serving them because I'm still on an executive board. And although boards are boring, boards are very boring. So it's not that I want to be on a board, not at this stage of my life, really. But I'm only on that board because I still do some service in that way. I keep my service connection going. Yeah? So I'm on a board so that I still have a service connection. But yes, at one point I realized I cannot enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I'm lacking in love. That's when I started to drift more to the altar of Gaura, and I started to pray to Gaura. Then one evening, I was especially enthusiastic in leading kirtan, and I was dancing. And I was younger then, so I was really dancing, not just a little bit like now, but I was really dancing. And at one point, as I was dancing, I felt that I was pulled up rather than I was jumping up. I felt like I'm just being pulled up in the air. And at that moment, I saw on the legs of Gaura that they were flexing their muscles for a moment, and they were about to jump off the altar, and then they didn't do it. But I saw that for a moment, and shortly after that, let me call it an accident. I had that big incident, whatever it was. And as a result, I had to leave Vrindavan. And I left. And I took up service in the Western world. I took up the mission of Lord Nityananda Balaram to spread Krishna consciousness. So now I cannot really stay in Vrindavan anymore. Now I'm one of those sannyasis. And Prabhupada would ask his sannyasis upon arrival, when the sannyasis would come to Vrindavan, Prabhupada would say, "Good to see you. When are you leaving?" They wouldn't say welcome. He would just straight away say, "When are you leaving?" So every time I'm there now, I always know I can't stay too long. I have to. But the mercy of Lord Balaram continues. And may you all go to Vrindavan and serve Lord Balaram and serve Krishna in this way. And may Vrindavan manifest within you. And may your whole being be just for the pleasure of Krishna. That is the mercy of Lord Balaram. Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Okay. There is a question, I'll try and answer it. The offering is going on, is it? It's even done, huh? That's encouraging.
Does Balaram always come as Krishna's older brother?
Does Balaram always come as Krishna's older brother? Well, Balaram is manifesting himself in different forms. He becomes Nityananda also, that is the older brother. But Balaram also manifested earlier as the brother of Lord Ramachandra, and he was Lakshmana, he was the younger. But with Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram is always the older. Eternal. Yes. And you know how it is with older brothers in Vedic culture. That's a serious thing. You have an older brother?
Not yet.
Only a younger one. You are the older brother. So you know very well. And if he doesn't remember, you will remind him. I am the older brother. So Balaram also does that. Dauji, the older brother. Right? That's him. Yeah, like Krishna and Arjuna were together, and it was quite, Krishna could see that Arjuna was interested in Subhadra. You know, the way he looked at her, Krishna could understand. So Krishna said, all right, Arjuna, what you do is you just kidnap. Because Balaram, he is friends with Duryodhana, and he will never agree, that you will marry Subhadra. He wants to give. So then Krishna instructed him how to do it, and he dressed up like a sannyasi, and he came like a sannyasi, and and then everyone trusted him, and then stole Subhadra. So Balaram was extremely angry, and Balaram was going to kill Arjuna. and Krishna then, as the younger brother, couldn't just tell Balaram, no, Balaram, don't do this. Not like that. He had to do it in a more tactful way. So Krishna said, Balaram, actually, Subhadra wanted Arjuna. And then Balaram said, she wanted him? Oh. Then he cooled down, He said, oh, okay. Still angry, but then he accepted. Yeah. So he is down. He is the elder brother. Oh. Yes.
Please accept my humble obeisance. Maharaj, my question is why it is recommended to take shelter of Gaur-Nitai to understand the love of Krishna, Radha and Krishna?
Because they are very generous with mercy. Gaur-Nitai give mercy. So during the initiation lecture, I spoke about sadhana siddha and kripa siddha. So kripa is causeless. It's given to us. It's a gift. So Gaur-Nitai give gifts freely. So Baba, they give you bhakti for nothing. Koi kharcha, kuch nahi, kuch lag nahi. Bilkul, it is free. In India, when something is free, everybody will come. They'll take it. Yeah. So they give it for free. That is why. And who in this age wants to work? It's like we chant, right? But reluctantly. Oh gosh, I have to chant again. 16 rounds. And I just finished it last night. And now again. Only time. It is give mercy. That's why. We lack in love. With Gaur-Nitai, they give mercy, and because of that mercy, we very quickly get some taste of ecstasy, some taste of love. Then we begin to relish Krishna consciousness. Then when we begin to relish Krishna consciousness, then we walk with the wings of happiness. Then we fly. Like all right. So I thank you all very much for being with us on this auspicious day. Very nice to have the initiations, and a little, although I would have liked to do it for all the devotees from the Rath Yatra. What could we do? Only a handful allowed. So such is life. But we have the so you heard everything, so that's good enough. All glories to Lord God.